Trump went on Joe Rogan after rumors he was gonna go on Joe Rogan, etc. He went on Joe Rogan. There's multiple moments that have gone viral. We'll play a couple of them for you guys to react to with us. But Donald Trump, in his campaign, went on Joe Rogan. There's rumors of this interview now. They're saying that YouTube is trying to shadow ban it because when you look it up on YouTube, it's not popping up. You have to have a direct link, right? And Spotify had it later than he had it on YouTube. He dropped it on YouTube, then Spotify. But then, hours after it dropped, a couple days ago, right away, there was reports of the actual interview not being available. It wasn't even on Spotify yet. And then eventually, I guess, Joe Rogan tweeted saying, hey, I unlisted it, then I listed it, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about it because I feel like it might be some propaganda shit.
It is.
Then and then you looked it up, etc. And then there was a case where it was like, okay, Joe Rogan might not be lying. Is he lying? Did he just unlist it, then listed it? He said that he unlisted it and then fixed the glitch and then put it back up. But when you check his Twitter account, let's look at Joe Rogan Twitter or X. Joe Rogan's ex, not his ex-girlfriend, God bless. His first tweet addressing it was right here. There's no issues with YouTube censoring the Trump episode. It was just supposed to go live both on Spotify and YouTube at the same time. There was a glitch in Spotify's upload systems, so we delisted the YouTube link until it's fixed. It should be fine now. Then today, he retweeted some guy, DHH. He said, tried to find Rogan and Trump interview on YouTube, but no matter what I search, it's not coming up. Would be bonkers if they actually tried to suppress it. Must be a glitch, right? Joe Rogan retweeted this. And this is the guy trying to find it. It's not popping up, only clips of it, and people are addressing it, right?
I just looked it up and it popped up, by the way. So, like, these niggas is lying. God
so
bless.
you saying you looked it up, right?
I literally looked it up.
Let me look it up.
Joe Rogan, Trump. Just look up those two words.
Joe Rogan, Trump.
And watch it.
And you guys at home can do the same. Look it up yourself. Yeah, it popped up for me.
Bro, it's a lie.
I'm subscribed, obviously, to Joe Rogan. Are you subscribed?
No, nigga.
You're not subscribed?
Hell no.
And it's still popping up for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could be just some bullshit, but for Joe Rogan to retweet that feeds into the idea of this maybe being suppressed. Now, when you go on Joe Rogan's page, let's look at the numbers. Let's break down the business side of this. It's now officially the 4th most watched Joe Rogan podcast interview that he's done of all time. And in 2 days, it's gathered 35 million views.
That's crazy, bro.
35 million views, 2 million likes, and almost 500,000 comments. God damn. Jesus Christ.
That's not shocking.
And this is a conversation with basically no filter, but yeah, no filter. Joe also didn't really, in my opinion, debate Trump at all or like
push back on
Trump. He came off, in my opinion, more biased than I expected him to come off because he said it years ago. Like he's like, I don't want to have Trump on. Like I don't want to do this political shit. Like he was kind of an anti that idea. But then he started breaking it because he did have RFK on. Mm-hmm. He's had politicians on. So people are like, oh, so maybe Trump's bound to happen. He said during the podcast that the only reason that this happened was because of Dana White. He's close with Dana White, and Trump is also close with Dana White. So he probably had Dana White tell him, yo, have him on. And he finally fed into it, and he finally did it.
Yo, low-key, I confused Dana White with Joe Rogan.
You're hilarious, because they do look alike.
Some people do that. But it's crazy. Look at 35 million views. Will it pass the Elon Musk interview? The live stream they did with Elon Musk that got 68 million views 6 years ago. It might. Yeah, it might. It might pass it. It might pass it. If YouTube doesn't take it down, it might pass it. Right? Now, when you go on X, let's just look up some of the Joe Rogan and Trump clips that have gone viral. He showed Rogan his ear. And people are saying that Rogan looked like he didn't believe it because he showed him the scar. I would have wished that this was more of a moment. Right? Like he actually
Rogan let it happen.
Yeah, but I feel like he should have turned fully.
No, I get it, yeah.
And showed Jamie, can you zoom in on his ear? Let's show the people the ear.
It's like I told you, bro.
He didn't.
He purposely didn't push back because he understands his base is Trump's base. And it's like any form of pushback would have been seen negatively. So he just let him have it. I think he just let him go up there and rant. Like when you watch it, it doesn't feel like a normal Joe Rogan interview where like he will push back, ask for more clarity. Because when they were talking about the election stealing part,
I think it's right here. The polls.
yeah, like this nigga's rambling. And it's like, bro, why aren't you questioning this? I've seen you push back on stuff like this.
Here's one of the clips of them talking about the poll. Let's see right here. I'll put the Bluetooth from the laptop.
I have a theory. These pollsters, they charge you a lot of money, too. You know, they charge you $500,000 to do some stupid poll, and they interview like 251 people. I don't think they interview them in many cases. I don't want to get myself in too much
You
trouble.
think it's bullshit?
No, I think they sit there, they make a deal, they get $500,000, and they say, Trump's leading 51-49. They announce it, and everybody says, oh. Do you understand? I
Yeah.
really don't.
So you think
I don't
it's
think they. I think in a
That's
lot.
crazy that you
look,
said this too.
I'm
Yeah,
a very
but
common
there was something
sense
else about the
person.
election
I
being
think
stolen.
That they probably
me see if I can find
don't
it.
always poll. Some of them probably never poll. What's the difference between 49 to 51 and 47 and a half?
Well, it's also a tiny percentage of the population. I don't think it's representative of the overall population. I just don't think
I don't
it
know
is.
of one person in my whole life that ever got called by a pollster.
Exactly.
Yo, the fact that he's talking about this shit is crazy. I feel like Rogan did get a random moment like that, right? That I don't think any other interviewer has gotten, where he's admitting to some of his bullshit, where he's like, "Yo, I take pride in these polls," because he talks about these polls like, "I'm leading Kamala. I beat Kamala this week. I'm ahead of Kamala again this week. We're ahead of her. We were tied, but now we're ahead. We're beating her." But then he's like, "But at the same time, to be honest with you, Joe, I might get in trouble for saying this. The polls, I think they're fake polls, because I never met nobody in my life that's actually did one of these early polls." And he's right. I never met nobody either. It makes you always question. That's why a lot of these things will be like, what is this, right? This is just a estimate, but what's the estimate based off, right? And that's one of those moments.
I sent you the video right now. It's a 2-minute one where they're going back and forth about the election being stolen. Bro, this was the funniest moment because at one point you can see Trump's brain deteriorating because of his age. Like you could see the effects, and Rogan just gave him a pass, and that shit confused me so much because
This
he
one right
really
here?
could have embarrassed
Over
him.
and over
It's a
again
2-minute
that
one, yeah.
you were robbed in 2020.
Yeah, totally.
How do you think you were robbed? Everybody always cuts you
Freebie.
off. I'm going to
They
allow
do. Well, they
Multimedia
not only cut you
marketplace.
off. Well, what I'd rather do is we'll do it another time, and I would bring in papers that you would not believe. So many different papers. That election was so crooked. It was the
Freebie.
most crooked
The
election.
multimedia
Okay, but give me
marketplace.
some examples of how.
Well, let's start. Let's start on
okay.
the top and the easy ones.
Okay.
They were supposed to get legislative approval to do the things they did, and they didn't get it. In many cases, they didn't get it.
Freebie.
What things?
The multimedia
Anything.
marketplace.
When they
Legislative
made,
approval
like
of-
for extensions of the voting, for voting earlier, for this,
Right.
for all different things. By law, they had to get legislative approvals. You don't have to go any further than that.
Caribbean.
If
The
you take a
multimedia
look at
marketplace.
Wisconsin, they virtually admitted that the election was rigged, robbed, and stolen. They wouldn't give access in certain areas
Caribbean. The
to the
multimedia
ballots
marketplace.
because the ballots weren't signed. They weren't originals. They were. We could go into this stuff. We could go into the ballots, or we could go into the overall. I'll give you another one.
Are you going to present
Well,
this
let me-
ever?
Caribbean. The multimedia
Like,
marketplace.
do you think like
Let
in
me
a-
just give you one
okay,
more
go ahead.
before. 51 intelligence agents come up that the laptop was from Russia.
Caribbean.
It turned out to be
the
totally
multimedia
false.
marketplace.
51
wasn't.
former intelligence agents, right?
They say that made. I don't believe it's this much, but it doesn't have to. I won by I lost by I didn't lose, but they say I lost, Joe. They say I lost by
The
22,000
multimedia
votes.
marketplace.
That's like
He's
1/10
rambling.
of one.
I didn't lose. You did lose, man.
Bro, he
You did
didn't give a
lose.
concise statement that entire rant.
And there's a lot of them that have been like doubling down on this narrative of him not losing. Like, and I get it with like the fucking what was that company that had the voting boxes
I know
that
you're
got
talking about.
sued
Yeah.
with Fox or something? Like they worked with Fox, Dominion.
Yeah,
That whole case?
They sued them because Fox was spreading false information. A court of law proved that Fox was in fact lying.
Yeah. So that case, so they use that. I'm not sure if they tie it to the Trump votes, but you can count that maybe as all votes. There was a clip about the Russia when they were like, how's he gonna stop Putin? And he's like, oh, I tell Putin, can't do that. Get over here.
Bro, but this is my point. Like, I'm watching this, I'm like, Rogan press him, and he didn't do it. And I'm like, wow, Rogan got soft. Like, he really could. I think he knows in his heart, if he had pressed Trump in these moments, his base would have just unsubscribed. They would have stopped following him.
Look at this.
Things I told him. I said, Vladimir, you're not going in. I used to talk to him all the time. You're not going in.
Like, what does that even mean?
I said, Vladimir, you're not going in. I used to talk to him all the time. Vladimir, you're not going in. Like, what the? This guy's he's like a comedian. Like, it's crazy.
No, he's funny as fuck. He's the funniest
and
president we've ever had.
And it shouldn't be, because if you're the president, like, you shouldn't be entertaining us. You should try to, be professional. But this guy is like,
But this is my frustration.
these
with
random
Rogan.
moments, like, this is random.
This is the most important conversation of probably one of the most important conversations in Rogan's career, right?
Yeah.
You would think he would treat it like he does all the other ones, where he does the fact check thing. The guy in the back is fact checking. They have the computer there. I mean, the TV screen where they're looking up information. Bro, I don't think he fact checked Trump once. I don't think he went to actually look at if what Trump was saying was true. But I've seen him do it with Steven Crowder. He crushed Steven Crowder. He annihilated Steven. He annihilated Ben. He annihilated some other Republican talker. And I'm like, bro, so you're used to crushing conservatives and Democrats. I've seen him do it with Democrats too. Why are you choosing to have the most important conversation just be a spectacle joke where Trump is just rambling?
He spoke about his reaction to this after.
Like have you ever seen the chart of
On the
when
podcast he did, like,
polio
the day
actually
after,
dropped off
covering the
when
MMA?
vaccine was introduced?
Put the speak up a little bit more when you get a chance, please.
That's a rough one. That's when you look at the actual, like, there's a bunch of them. Measles is another one, and you look at what actually happened.
Everybody knows.
But I said that, and he kind of he danced a little.
The politician came out.
No, he's real good at you ask him a question, and he starts to answer it, but then he takes you on a totally different route.
The weave.
You got to bring him back in, but you got to be respectful. So it's like, I knew that's the way he does it, but I'm like, I understand what you're doing, sir. But let's get it back to what I was asking you.
Yeah, you did that a couple times.
I was like, I want to know what that first fucking day is like, and I don't think I really got that answer out of him.
I don't think he remembers.
Well, I think he does. What I'm talking about is like this feeling of now you have to appoint 10,000 people.
But you see, the key thing right there, he's like, you gotta be respectful. You gotta be respectful. Like, that's what he tried to be, but he did it too much. To the point that some moments came off dick ridish.
And it came biased as fuck.
It came off biased and dick ridish, where he's had mad interviews, like Rogan's interviews. He's had so many interviews where it'll be an amazing person. He's not dick riding them. He's like very like objective. This one, it just came off way too much like he was siding. And Trump felt that. That's why if you watch it, when you watch it, he's like saying, like, Trump's telling him like so many people endorsed me. Elon's endorsed me. I feel like you're not a Kamala guy. Rogan, you're not a Kamala guy, right? You're not a Kamala guy.
He was a Bernie
Like, he's
dude.
waiting for Joe Rogan to say on the podcast, like, endorse. Because that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about. So he was dick riding Rogan. He's like, yo, I've seen what you've done is amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, we got to do this again. He's dick riding him, but he probably hasn't seen a fucking Joe Rogan podcast in his life. But
No.
it's the business side of it. Like, he knows the marketing. He knows it's going to be big. He literally had a rally after the Joe Rogan podcast. He was supposed to get on a jet. He was supposed to only give Joe Rogan an hour. He was 2 hours late to the rally, and people were leaving the rally and had to come back to the rally because he was doing his podcast. Because he gave Joe 2 extra hours.
Bro.
Because he knew that this was more important, because this is going to live online forever.
I truly believe Joe Rogan saw the numbers and said, if I take this seriously, I could lose a large amount of my subscribers. And that's the danger of all of this.
Because if he does what, like gets mad at him or says some shit?
If he
Presses him too
actually
much?
presses him and questions him and checks his information because of how sensitive that fan base is, I don't think you truly understand that these people don't want any criticism towards Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So and their fan base overlaps like crazy. Like, everyone knows this, statistically proven. Most Joe Rogan people identify as Trump fans.
Yeah.
So how do you think Joe Rogan's going to react in that moment? That's why when we had this convo about journalism, that's why journalism is so important in this world. In this moment, a journalist would have pressed him. Bro, what are you talking about? Your election was stolen. Prove it. If you have all this information, why haven't you taken it to court? Explain to me why it's not in a court of law right now. Joe doesn't do that, because if Joe does it, then he loses subscribers. Loses subscribers, he loses income.
And then during this clip, further on, he does say there was rumors of Kamala saying that she doesn't want to go on Rogan. But then Rogan said, it's not true. I don't know where these rumors are. I would love to have her on. He said it again. It's like the third time he said it. Like he wants to have her on. I hope that she goes on. But if she goes on, how's he gonna treat her? Right? He needs a. If he treats her where it's like obviously different than Trump,
then he looks biased.
he's gonna look crazy.
Yeah,
He's gonna look crazy.
You'd have to just let her talk.
He's gonna look crazy.
This is why you can't allow media personalities to have these conversations with these people, because it gets so bad. Like when Call Me Daddy, whatever that podcast. Call Her Daddy. When she
put some respect on Alice Cooper's name.
Alice Cooper's that nigga. I mean that woman. But I almost called her a nigga. But like she
did actually.
Yeah, I did. But when she did that, bro, the backlash was bad. Her subscribership fell.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I can see
she might have Trump on probably now.
No, she invited him. He said no.
He'd probably go on now.
He might. But
it's the last leg, bro.
But the thing is, he wouldn't, because she's gonna press him about reproductive rights, and he has no answer. Because his base doesn't want it. So what is he gonna say? Yeah, I'm gonna protect reproductive rights. He's never gonna say it.
And also, just breaking it down, basically, right? Isn't it crazy when we think about it in life? Who would have thought years ago we would have said that the host of Fear Factor and the host of The Celebrity Apprentice
It's crazy.
were gonna be one day the biggest conversation, maybe in American politic history, right? Like this right now is breaking numbers. Everyone's talking about it. It's swaying votes, allegedly, and this and that. This is crazy.
It's funny you paint it that way, because someone told me this once and I never really understood what they meant until it started to unravel. American politics is now the last domino to fall. The entire country is just TV. So the biggest celebrities, the biggest personalities on TV are now in politics. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because they're the most marketable. This whole system has unraveled itself into a spectacle. It's just media. You're just watching a movie.
It's crazy.
American politics is just a movie. God bless.
It's crazy. Moving on from Rogan, we also have, obviously, on the Kamala side, right? For those who don't know, right now during the elections, this is the biggest, like, in media and news, this is the biggest time every 4 years, the last leg of the election, the last 2 weeks, the final days before the election, because you get to see the real deal circus. You got celebrities. Oh, my God. I think the Oculus, they sent they're trying to kill me. The Drake Oculus.
They sent the poison. I see Marloon put something in your
They
drink.
poisoned the water. They had Marloon. They hired Marloon. They put some powder in the bottle. But Kamala, on the Kamala side, we got the endorsements, the celebrity endorsements happening. We have Beyonce coming out with Kelly Rowland at the Kamala Harris, I think the Texas one. I think it was the Texas rally.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk, the actor from the Hulk, Don Cheadle, backing Kamala. A lot of celebrity endorsements on both sides.
They gon' love me for my ambition.